The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Well, welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I am a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville. And then you can hear me in Birmingham from 10 until 11, the fastest hour in radio, right there on Talk 99.5. With me, as always, not really though, Mecca Music, back from a couple of weeks off, and she brings with her terrible news for the great state of Alabama. It's true. It's true. We'll get into that here in just a second. Jacob Morrison will be with us. There's some labor news, some union news. We'll have Jacob Morrison on. He's the host of a labor radio show. We'll talk with him, and then I've got a partner shot, and that's about Nick Saban, too. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's get to the 2-minute warning. So Mecca decided to bail and go and watch football games or something, and now she's back. And because the Alabama lost, she got Nick Saban fired. That's pretty much what I think happened. That might be incorrect, but Nick Saban is now gone from the University of Alabama. He'll always be connected to it. 17 years there, 6 national titles, and he made Tim Tebow cry. So that's basically, as a Gator, that's what I remember, and that's what I will always remember. Mecca?
I think that's mostly what everybody remembers.
Okay.
It was a very defining moment in football. But continue.
Okay, so Mecca, it's more than about football, though. I think I've been in Alabama for 17 years, just like Nick Saban. We came together, we carpooled. And
On the jet?
Yes, but I'm hanging around still a little longer. But a lot has changed, and he had a big impact on the state, too.
I absolutely. Off the football field, even, and you can call it like the Nick Saban ripple effect. I think, like, what was it? The enrollment.
Lomax called it Sabanomics.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Thank
yeah.
you, Lomax. But I mean, you're talking about even the enrollment. It was like 40% since he's been here. I mean, and you've got to think of it also more in like philosophical terms. When people thought of Alabama, after Nick Saban started this, and his associated undeniable excellence, that's what got associated with Alabama, the state.
Yep.
I mean, and I'll miss him.
Yeah, I think you're right. The mayor of Tuscaloosa, Walt Maddox, came out and said that the impact on Tuscaloosa by Nick Saban is immeasurable. And I would take that to the state.
Yes,
as a whole.
state level.
Tax revenue that he brought in, the merchandising, the branding. You go anywhere, you're going to see Alabama stuff. It's just true. I mean, not that this wasn't true before, but there are Alabama bars all over the country. I mean, it's just weird to see it. I remember going to Wrigleyville and walking into a bar, and they were playing Sweet Home Alabama, and I look around, there's houndstooth everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, not that didn't exist before, but Saban has taken that to a whole different level. We're talking
And a point of pride that maybe didn't exist before.
I agree with that, too.
Since Bear, I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that, too. There is just a lot associated with Nick Saban. And the money he brought in, pay him $20 million to work. Come back to work, whatever he needs, let him have it. There was always this talk about how they paid him too much money, but in some sectors, it wasn't even close to the economic impact he had on everything. He did a great job. As a Gator fan, I'm glad to see him go. As someone that lives in Alabama, I am not. So we'll just leave it right there. All right, let's move on. Let's get serious here for a second and talk about 2024. Here we go. Starting on Monday, we will start to see people actually go and caucus. I don't know what that is, but they're going to be doing it in Iowa, where they get together in the freezing cold, and I guess they throw like a rock in a pond or something, and then decide who wins the caucus.
That sounds accurate.
Okay, good. I'm just checking. So, Mecca, there's been a lot of change here in the last couple weeks.
I
The
know.
New Hampshire polling has Nikki Haley sort of bubbling up. Chris Christie has now dropped off. And then he had a hot mic moment where he said all the things he said on mic, and we're still pretending that it was some sort of crazy thing. I think that was fake, by the way. But that all said, it didn't really matter when it came to Iowa, because Iowa, Trump was still dominating. Haley was still kind of. Does Christie's decision actually have any impact on Iowa? Because I think Iowa will have an impact on New Hampshire. Does Christie's decision have anything on that?
I don't necessarily know about Iowa so much as you look at the broader race and the impacts on that, because Haley and DeSantis, they do not attack Trump. I think he was the most
They were going at him.
outspoken. They attack each other.
Yeah.
They attack each other. But Christie was the most outspoken as far as attacking Trump and raising a lot of those viewpoints that might not be there necessarily otherwise.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that, but I think they've started to turn on him more as we got closer here. And now we're going to see what it actually means. I mean, I've talked to people who are associated with the DeSantis campaign, and they seriously believe that they are in striking distance. Mm-hmm. That means the polls are wrong by 30 and 40 points. I mean, I just don't foresee that. Now, it's going to be super cold. But who's more motivated than a Trump supporter?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
Nobody
is more motivated for Trump. I mean, that's the reality of it.
I believe that if DeSantis does not come within single digits in Iowa, this whole thing's over.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. I mean, Donald Trump's in court doing all sorts of things.
Listen, Donald Trump's
outside court, whatever.
But he's still living his best life. I mean, he's like, they're duking it out. Haley and DeSantis are duking it out on this debate while he's just in front of an adoring crowd fawning over him at a town hall.
Yeah, there was people in the audience too. I mean, he said something pretty cool at this thing. He just completely took the news away from him. Oh, I've chosen my VP. Who is it? I can't tell you. But I've chosen him.
That's so good.
It might be something. I pitched to Tupperville today. I want to see what your thought on this. Or I pitched to him earlier this week. He should be out there talking to Trump about Katie Britt. That's what I told him. That's your VP. That's your VP choice. Tupperville was like, look, we just got to win. That's all he said. So.
Well, I mean, I love Britt, but...
I'm just telling you. You want suburban women and moms? There you go. That's the answer. All right, let's talk about this special election that just took place. I spent a lot of time talking about this over the last couple of weeks. Mecca would know because she wasn't here. And we were having a conversation about this that involves school choice. And I was a big believer that the AEA getting involved in this race is a big deal. The results from the District 9 race basically said Wes Kitchens, he was the AEA Republican candidate, and he won 52-38 with another candidate getting about 9%. Did the AEA have something to do with that? 4 points? I think so. I think they absolutely put him over the top. Also, maybe there's a spoiler in the race with 3 candidates. But simply put, if the AEA stays out of this race, does the same thing. I don't think so.
I disagree with you on this. I think you're giving the AEA way too much credit. They just picked a winner. He had more name recognition. He was more well-known. It could be argued more experience.
No, I don't know if that's true. Not that I think what you're saying is true,
right.
But I think there's another factor to it too. They sent out their flyers. Mm-hmm. They targeted their members and their members only because they didn't want this to become a whole the AEA supports this guy, so I'm going to support the other people amongst Republicans.
Right.
So they went to people who were actually members and they motivated them.
Your question was, would it have been a different result?
Had they not
I'm not saying that it wasn't a factor, but I don't think it would have been a different result. I think Kitchens was the favorite.
I'm not saying that the who won would have been different.
Okay.
We'd have a runoff. I think we'd have a runoff.
You could maybe get me there, but I don't know.
Change 2 out of 100 votes. That's all you got to do.
And a special election, the numbers, every vote counts.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Nuts.
And they motivate. The AA is good at motivating their members, and everyone knows it. That's why everyone's afraid of them. So what does it mean now for issues like school choice and all these other issues?
You know what it means.
It's a win for them, right?
Why do you always? It's nearly sad. It's like Lucy with the football. You know what's going to happen.
I agree with that completely. But this also, looking forward, can be used to say, see what we did there?
Yeah.
Did you see what we did right there? Yes. And I think that's the importance of this whole thing. Big win for the AA there.
No, I just don't agree with that statement. I'm sorry. But also, I want to talk about District 10 really quick because that's coming up March 26th.
Okay, that's another special election. There's
another
another one
election,
too. Yeah.
Very, very, very close. It's coming up March 26th. You've got Teddy Powell, Madison City Council member, against Marilyn Lands, well-known, well-liked Democrat. That is going to be, every vote is going to count on this one. It's one of those, and special elections are wild anyway. You never know what's going to happen. But that one is that 2 internal polls came out, and of course, their candidates are both winning and things like that. But that is going to be a very, very exciting election.
Yeah, and that Madison race used to be held by Mike Ball.
Mike Ball. This is Mike Ball's old
Then
seat.
there's a guy in prison who used to represent.
I don't think he's in prison
he's out
right
now, but he went to prison for living in a different district and all that other stuff. Very unfortunate situation now. This race. So it'll be interesting to see how voters decide on that one. All right, let's talk gambling here for just a quick second because we do it all the time. Andy Witt, a Republican state rep out of Harvest, he's the one that's been going around the state, living in the Wild West, going to these backroom casinos and saying, these things are pretty bad.
Man, and he really did.
Hit me. Yeah, these are awful. I hate them.
No, he really did, though. Like, this guy has been everywhere. He's done the research. He's done the homework. He knows the numbers. And so when they say they want to regulate this to get a control of it, I mean, he's got a lot of proof. He's got a lot of facts to back this up.
I agree with that part of it. Absolutely, you have the Wild West existing. Yes. But what kills me and a lot of people about it is not that the Wild West exists. It's that we go, man, this Wild West exists.
Somebody should really do something about that.
Yeah, somebody should do something about that and really clean that up. That's a really bad thing. Maybe we do something in the legislature about it next year. I mean, that's sort of the response. But they're using the dreaded comprehensive immigration. It doesn't work there either. But comprehensive gambling bill, and I think that scares people away. But I mean, you have it. They're talking about lottery. They're talking about bingo. They're talking about casinos. They're talking about sports betting, regulation, arresting people, all this Russian roulette. They got it all going.
Not in there.
They got all these things that they want to do and they want to talk about here. And it is, I mean, I said immigration by accident, but it's absolutely the exact same thing you have up in D.C. You have all these people that want different things, and they refuse to allow these other things to take place. I just want a lottery and will not do anything else. Well, I don't want any gambling at all. Well, I'm not going to vote for your lottery unless you have actual table gaming in there. Well, what about sports bet? And you got all these different players involved, and they keep going down this path. And I think maybe one day they break through, but they're not even there in the legislature yet. So it's not even an issue of the people yet.
It's not put forth to the people, but you said the people who would just want a lottery and stuff. Yeah. No, I'm for those people because that's what the people, polls have shown, that's what the people of Alabama would overwhelmingly approve of. And our lawmakers refuse to let them have that vote.
They would approve it even if the money went to Hamas. Okay, but
they have to tie it to gaming because the gaming interest knows it will not. This is their chance. Yeah. If they don't tie it to lottery, it won't come through.
Real quick, I talked to Sam Gavan, and he told me, my state senator, and he told me that last time around they've put new people in the legislature who are no's, who took over seats from people who are yeses. So it's actually losing steam, not gaining steam.
Right.
So that's kind of a big problem here. All right, let's take a quick time out. Jacob Morrison will be with us here in just a second. He is with the Valley Labor Report. We'll have a conversation with him about some of the labor issues in the state of Alabama and beyond. Stay tuned.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Recover Now is a national campaign aimed at the education and awareness of the devastating effects of opioid and heroin abuse and curbing drug and alcohol addiction in the United States. Recover Now is sponsored by treatment facilities nationwide. Many of them have been where you are, and they want to help by spreading a message of hope and recovery. They're working hand in hand with major insurance companies nationwide that can help you or a loved one get clean in 7 to 30 days. Recover Now is embarking on a national outreach campaign on TV and radio to promote anti-addiction messages. So if you, a loved one, or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, do not wait. A new life for you could be 30 days away. Call us right now. I promise this call can change your life. Sponsored by the Detox and Treatment Helpline.
Call 855-723-6903.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. And yes, this is Mecca Music. She is back from all of her gallivanting around the globe. Jacob Morrison is with us. He is the host of the Valley Labor Report on WVNN in North Alabama and various other places around the South. And let's talk about the South and labor reporting right now. Jacob, here's what I find interesting about what's going on right now. UAW is coming off the back of some big wins against automakers. Then you have, we've talked about this before with UPS and other entities, big wins there. The labor perception, and I'm talking about of organized labor, is better right now than it's been, I believe, in decades amongst the American people. And so inroads can be made. The South is very anti-union and has been for a very long time. That's why all the auto plants moved here. You think that's about to change? Tell our viewers and listeners why.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I do think that it's about to change. There's more of a chance for it to change now than, since the CIO's Operation Dixie in the 40s. And there are a few reasons for that. Like you mentioned at the top, there's been a lot of really serious wins. The UAW saw people getting immediate raises from at least 11, 12% to as much as 80% right off the bat as soon as the contract was ratified. So that's huge, life-changing amounts of money for people, especially people that were temporary workers. UPS has saw a lot of gains. And there have also been very successful reform movements, specifically in the Teamsters and the UAW, that have turned these unions from unions that were consistently engaging in concessionary bargaining, since the 70s and 80s. Most of the labor movement has been just holding the line where they can do that.
Now, hold on. Now, hold on, Jacob. What you mean by that, just for people who are listening, is what that means is the company is like, hey, we're going to have to shut down unless you give us this. And they give back the quote-unquote gains that they had in the past. I'm sorry, continue on just for a second.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right, and I appreciate that clarification. And additionally, the UAW has been plagued by corruption scandals. And so these are kind of, some of the big reasons that specifically auto workers are interested in the UAW again. It is a clean union again. It is a union that is open and transparent. The bargaining is not secretive. This campaign to organize the non-union auto sector is not secretive. And they are winning again. And so when, you're an auto worker and you see that in Alabama, your pay has fallen by 11% over the past 20 years, and you're looking at this new UAW, you're saying that, that could be me. Why couldn't it be me? It could be me. My company is seeing a lot of profits, and my pay is going down. I think that's not right. I should get some of that money that I'm creating. And so that's what's happening at Mercedes in Tuscaloosa and Volkswagen in Chattanooga.
So, Jacob, you're saying that unions are gaining ground in the South, but take us back a bit. Historically, they haven't been very popular in the South, in the Southeast region. Talk about why that is and why it's changed now. Not just UAW, but just the general perception of unions in the South.
The South has, there have been a lot of issues that have kept unions at bay, so to speak, in the South. And a lot of that, especially historically, had to do with racial divisions. That was a big reason for the CIO's unsuccessful Operation Dixie in the 40s and 50s was racial divisions, because as, where unions tried to organize interracially, politicians and bosses would pit black workers against white workers. And then where the unions conformed to Jim Crowism, then they couldn't organize the black workers, and the black workers would, break strikes because they weren't in the union. So why wouldn't they, right? And so it was doomed to failure in a lot of ways in the 20th century because of how reactionary the elite class in the South was and how that was beneficial for them.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. You talk about the elite class. I think you would envision what Kay Ivey did as a similar reactionary measure here. You got 30% signatures at this Mercedes plant, and the governor comes out with an op-ed and says, this is Alabama. We want more auto plants here. Unionizing will cost us auto plants, which will cost us jobs. And I'll tell you this, you and I talked about this. I believe we've seen auto workers in the state of Alabama, their pay go up after the UAW thing, directly because of it. In spite of not being a party to the deal, they saw an impact to try to keep that out. Kay Ivey is now, I guess, on the other side, pushing that angle as well, where she says, okay, let's not unionize here. Is that going to have an impact on this?
Is the, political backlash going to have an impact on this? Absolutely. That's going to be one of the challenges, especially, Kay Ivey's statement came out, I think, within the hour that the announcement about Mercedes came out. So there are people clearly in the governor's office and probably in the legislature that have been preparing to fight against their constituents as they fight for, a say in their workplace and better working conditions and higher wages. And so that's going to be a big part of the battle. But ultimately, the people who have the power are the folks who actually make the Mercedes vehicles. And if they decide, that they're not going to do that anymore, or that they can threaten to not do that anymore, then Mercedes has to listen to them. It's not up to the politician.
Well, and Jacob, listen, I know we're focused on the auto because that's been in the news so much, but I always enjoy your perspective because I always learn something usually when I speak with you. But tell me a little bit about, you might be surprised about some of the union presence already in the state of Alabama. Like I know you had told me about the stagehands and some companies, some things, they require union workers to come to Alabama.
Right.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, well, Alabama has actually forever been a bright spot in the South. We have had the highest union density in the Southeast for as long as unions have been around. And actually, the United Mine Workers were so successful breaking the back of Jim Crowism and doing interracial unionism and doing it well in the early 20th century, in the 1900s, that they claimed at least that Walker County, Alabama, had the highest union density in the entire country for a number of years. So, Alabama has long been a bright spot. But, yeah, here in Huntsville, we've got people at NASA, the rocket scientists and engineers are unionized. The stagehands here in Huntsville, stagehands unions do all of the labor for the Orion and the BBC.
Let's talk about the more recent history here for a second. The mine workers, you mentioned them, they just took a big L. I mean, at the end of the day, in Alabama. Amazon tried to unionize. They had 50%, I think, signed up on board. And when it came time to actually do the vote, it wasn't really all that close. I know you and I discussed the shenanigans that you believe took place and all of that, and that's fine. We can discuss that at a later date. But real quick, what has changed since the mine workers took their L and the Amazon issue went down? Why should this be different with 30% on board?
I think the things that I pointed to at the beginning of the conversation, I think that, people in the auto sector are seeing the UAW win, and the UMWA has unfortunately, and they haven't had any of these corruption scandals recently, but they have just not been able to notch very many wins across the country. And so they've had a more difficult time. And also that industry is more difficult, frankly. The auto industry is, the workers are, there's just more opportunity there than there is in the coal mining industry. So I think that that's a big part of the differences between coal mining and auto work.
Could you make the argument that this, and I want to see if you can, again, keep this relatively short. Can you make the argument that a win for the union would be better to bring more plants to the state of Alabama and more jobs? Can you make that argument?
Yes, I can, absolutely, because it happened with the UAW's contract just now with Stellantis, where they closed the Belvidere, Illinois plant before the contract negotiations. And during the contract negotiations, the UAW got them to not only reopen that plant, but also to commit to open a new battery plant next to that. So if the workers are able to get unionized and have a hand in bargaining, they can not only control their or have a say in their wages and working conditions, but they can also direct investment of the company to their hometowns.
Well, we're going to watch as this thing becomes, I think, a pretty heated issue in the state of Alabama, and we'll stay on top of it here on Alabama Politics This Week. Jacob Morrison, thank you very much, host of the Valley Labor Report on WVNN and all over the place, so check that out. Right there, Mecca Music. She does 2 segments and then she leaves again. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but the show will get better, and because I've got a partner shot for you and a surprise, it's about Nick Saban. Stay tuned.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improved range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. I got a parting shot for you. Yes, it involves Nick Saban, and yes, we will get to that here in just a quick second. But before we do, let me remind you about YellowhammerNews.com. Check it out right there, YellowhammerNews.com. Sign up for my email blast every single day. You'll get the 7 things you should be talking about today delivered directly into your email right when you wake up. You're ready to go. You already know the 7 things you should be talking about that day. I have videos and other stuff up there as well. Lots of great content at YellowhammerNews.com. Check them out today. For right now, though, let's go ahead and get to the parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at Alabama Democrats because I will tell you this, Nick Saban won't be saving those Democrats. It's interesting to watch some of the conversation on social media over this issue. And the reason I find it so entertaining is because as they told us that Tommy Tuberville was just a football coach, and he is an idiot because he was a football coach. Now they're saying, bring us that football coach, and maybe he can beat Tommy Tuberville. Well, let me tell you this right now. It is never going to happen. The same people that are calling for Nick Saban to jump in and save the state of Alabama from Tommy Tuberville, some even Kay Ivey, probably couldn't tell you when the next election is. That's number one. Number two, and I think this is probably the more important thing, they don't even like the type of politics that Nick Saban appears to have. Who would you compare him to? His good friend, Joe Manchin. He supported Joe Manchin in a lot of different things, and that's not really in vogue inside the Democratic Party right now. Would they accept it because he's a celebrity and they'd like to see him take it on? I spoke with Tommy Tuberville this week about that, and he said if Nick Saban wants this job, he should come up to Washington, D.C. and see how it actually goes, and then he wouldn't want the job anymore. A pretty interesting comment from Tommy Tuberville, but he also said that he and Nick Saban have talked a lot about politics, and he will not like what's going on up there either. So that's just one of the interesting things about this. But don't look for Saban to save Democrats. It's a good storyline. put out by the dull point of the spear for the Democrat messaging arm in Alabama, but it is not going anywhere. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics this week, and we'll be back next week